Joe Siracusa is a professor of security and diplomacy at Curtin University. He joins us from Melbourne in Australia. Joe, good to have you. So this is not the first time that Macron has said something like this. I mean, Russia has just invaded its neighbor, destroyed cities. It's accused of multiple war crimes. Can he not read the room here?
Yes, you'd think so, Michelle. Look, President Macron is not talking to Ukraine. What he's really saying, he's sending a message to President Biden to back down. He sees that Biden is using this war in a proxy fashion to permanently weaken, destabilize Russia, and to remove Putin. That's not the way Macron is rolling here. Macron sees the day when Russia will return to the European tables of commerce and finance and diplomacy. And so, you know, the message isn't just to Ukraine. It's to President Biden that you've over-militarized the war, and by giving Ukraine all these weapons, you're extending or you're delaying the day that people have to sit down and come to some kind of closure on this. And at the whole time, he's trying to position himself as the leader of Europe. He believes that France has a paramount role. He's taken Angela Merkel's place, and he sees Europe as an independent operation. He's still very angry with the United States, Australia, and Great Britain for backing out on that deal, for the Australians backing out on the deal on submarines. So, you know, he's pursuing an independent policy for France. And what he's telling the Americans is to back off, that this is not an opportunity to destabilize and destroy Russia for the future. And of course, he knows his history, that once you turn a nation into a pariah nation, the next one you get's even worse. Imperial Germany was treated that way in 1919, and who did we get? We got Adolf Hitler 20 years later. So he knows how this game works.
Yeah, well, many have compared the current situation to Nazi Germany, with Russia being compared to that. So what do you think Macron sees as the alternative here? Because Russia is destabilizing and destroying Ukraine for the future.
Well, what Macron is trying to do is he's trying to stabilize Europe, Ukraine's place in Europe, Russia's place in Europe, because you can't have a Europe without Russia. Now, Russia has acted or has behaved very badly in all this. It's done a number of things that cannot be justified under any circumstances, and they'll probably have to pay that cost. But what he's trying to do is he's trying to stabilize the situation. He's trying to prepare the road for some kind of diplomatic outcome. And by allowing the Americans to give the impression that if we give more and more aid to Ukraine, that Ukraine might just win this kind of thing, is ridiculous. 32% of the population has been displaced. 7 million have left the country. 8 million, of course, have no home tonight. And a fifth of the territory has already been seized by Russians. Much of it, of course, has been razed to the ground by Russian artillery. So this idea of the Ukrainians still have a chance to win. I mean, what Macron's trying to do in his way is he's trying to stop the violence. He's trying to bring it to an end. And so when he's talking to Ukraine about not humiliating Russia, he's really talking to Joe Biden and the American political establishment.
The words he chooses, though, let's not humiliate Russia when Russia has launched a war. I mean, there's a huge divide there in those two elements. But Macron, you see him, yes, as you mentioned, he wants to be a real leader in Europe. We see him trying and trying again to be the hero here, to be the peacemaker. But for all of his efforts, I mean, going on 4 months in, it's not working.
No, it's not. He's had over 100 hours of conversation with Vladimir Putin. In fact, I think Putin lied to him when he said he wasn't going to go in initially. No, Macron's come out of this with a great deal of egg on his face. Now, he hasn't done very well, but it doesn't stop him from trying to do a better job, as a matter of fact. And what he wants to do is he wants to prepare for the day after tomorrow. Now, look, I think if he had a chance to take the word back, humiliate. I don't know French as well as I know German, but I'll tell you this, that he could have chosen a better word to say exactly what he was talking about.
Sure.
Because to say that the Ukrainians are in a position to humiliate Russia, it's nonsense. It doesn't even mean anything to me. But I know he's talking to Biden, and what he's trying to do is get the Ukrainians to come down to earth. Now, look, these people are defending their country for all it's worth. And they're going to fight not to the last man, but they're going to fight a great deal more. And he'd like to see the suffering and the pain and the dying ending, and we all would. And so this war will end the way every war has ever ended in history, through diplomacy. So we need a diplomatic solution. And Ukrainians aren't ready to give up yet, and nor are the Russians. So we just have to sort of put our seatbelts on and just get ready for this bumpy ride. But Macron's trying to do the right thing. I doubt he's doing it well, but he is the main proponent of the diplomatic solution to ending this war. And he'd like the Americans to reset that button. He wants to make sure that Washington does not understand that this is an opportunity to publicly and to permanently hobble the Russian Federation. So he wants them to get off that narrative and sort of get real about this. And of course, your backstory here is very good, because the Russians are destroying that material coming in. So this is going to be a game of attrition before it's all over.
Yeah, we've heard that phrase time and time again. Joe, always a good conversation with you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.